One of the most interesting birds to watch is the hummingbirds. They can fly up and down, sideways, backwards, and upside down. This is the first hummingbird nest I ever saw. Notice they are tapered at the bottom. Here they are partially filled out. Here's full expansion. Here you can see how long the hummingbird's tongue is. They lick up the nectar. They do not suck it up. As we will see later in a slow motion footage, we can actually see the tongue split. Mother hummingbird checking out this nest. You see here how flexible the nest is. This is a female ruby-throat hummingbird. They lick up the nectar by making about 30 fast licks per second. I am trying to get this one to come in and feed from my mouth, which I did. I promised this young lady $1 if she could get one to come in and feed from her mouth. After about 15-20 minutes, she walked away with my $1. She did get one to come in and feed from her mouth. The male hummingbird has a red throat. The female has a white throat. This is the ruby-throated hummingbird, the one that you see on the east coast of the United States. Here you can see the red neck on this male hummingbird. Here, if you look close, you can see the tongue actually splits. That gives them more surface to lick up this nectar. They would come in and sit on my fingers to get to this feeder. This one sat on my fingernail for about 45 seconds while feeding. This fluffing is done after they have had a bath. Dries the feathers and helps them to fall back in place. This footage was taken at 1/500th of a second, and you can actually see the wings flapping. This was copied in frame by frame, and you can see that these wings actually rotate as well as flap up and down. Here's some more footage of the rotation of the wings on this hummingbird. There are about 35 different species of hummingbirds in the United States. I was lucky to find this hummingbird nest low enough in a dogwood tree that I could put the camera right down on top of it and get this unusual feeding at the hummingbird nest. They have just 2 eggs to be hatched in the hummingbird nest. There simply is no more room for more than 2 of these hummingbirds in one nest. Now, one of them has already vacated this nest, and they know how to fly as they leave the nest. This was the hummingbird that could not fly. A young lady brought it to me and wanted me to take it. I didn't know what to do with it, but I agreed to take it. We kept it alive with an eyedropper, and I kept it in the house for about 4 days. We had to feed it about every 30 minutes or so to keep it alive. I had a little help feeding this hummingbird from my neighbors. Now, this footage, I set the camera on a tripod and left it running, and I had to go run an errand, and when I came back, this is what I had taken. This looks rough, but this is what hummingbirds do. On the 4th day, I decided to put it out on the feeder, hoping it would feed and fly away. It would feed, but it never did fly away. I finally took this hummingbird to this young lady who looks after wounded birds, working with the Wildlife Association. She called me about 5 weeks later and said she kept it alive for 5 days. If you've never fed the hummingbirds, do so.